It's 7:30, so I'll call her. First thing on our agenda is approval of minutes, August 2nd. I have two corrections. One is to add Don Bachman to the, as we made a motion to add him to the Wastewater Management Project Committee, and subtract Steve McDonald. Is there a second to approve the minutes as corrected?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, communications. I had several announcements. One, the food and fuel fund is running low. So we're working on a plan. Donations are down. With working out with Heather Deneen on for the Board of Selectmen next meeting. So if anyone is thinking of making a contribution to the food and fuel fund, now would be a really good time to do that.
Question?
Yes.
What's their monthly budget? What do they typically need per month?
It varies by the year,
okay.
And by the time of year, but okay. We're working on getting a budget to reflect what we've got now, which is that it's okay. Increased demand. Okay. Currently, there's about $10,000 in the fund, which is as low as it's been in a long time. So we have there's some good news as far as we're doing things with the food share program, which should enable us to access a lot of food inexpensively. But just to let people know that is going on. Okay. Let's see, other communications. There will be a ARPA American Rescue Plan group meeting next Wednesday at 10 o'clock by Zoom. So I'm sure this subject will come up as far as the food pantry, because that is one of the allowable expenses for ARPA funds. So that's on Wednesday. On next Monday at 4 o'clock, there's going to be a meeting of the housing group with Jocelyn Ayer to keep moving that forward. So the housing is at 4 o'clock on Monday, and the ARPA committee is meeting 10 o'clock on Wednesday. So we'll get the Zoom links out for the website, on the website. Any other communications? Addition to the agenda, we have a tax refund. And I think that's the only addition I have. Does anybody else have an addition?
No.
Nope.
Okay. So is there a second to adding that?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So then we have the wastewater management project update. The group met last night, had a good meeting. There was, at the meeting, the group unanimously elected Todd Piker as chair and Don Bachman as vice chair of the committee. And they also made a recommendation that the selectmen continue to use the services of WMC engineers, as everybody there felt that Steve McDonald had done a very good job over a long period of time. He has expertise and familiarity with the project. The alternative of going out to re-interview people would take months, and we're trying, I think the general consensus is to move forward as carefully as possible, but also to keep the momentum going. So that was their unanimous recommendation, and I would like a recommendation or approval for this board to enter into negotiations with WMC to do the engineering for the wastewater project on a time and materials basis, not a lump sum basis, and have the assistance of the town attorney in drafting a contract, negotiate with Steve and get something presented to this board. So I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? One of the things too is we have been working on with the state Housing and Urban Development Department, who are overseeing the $3 million grant that the town got. They want an environmental report done very soon on this before they can release the funding. And again, that's another reason to go with somebody that knows the situation. Steve has submitted an environmental report already to USDA. And again, I think it makes a lot of sense to keep the experienced hand on the wheel. And we welcomed new member Bill Herbert, as Eric Teese didn't make it. But anyway, what we also decided was once we get the contract in place, we'll try to get back to doing a monthly regular meeting of this committee. So we're able to do that. That probably will happen in October, thinking it's going to take us a while to get the contract in place. But if Steve can get some other engineering done sooner, we can work on that too. So, so any other discussion on engaging WMC in a contract? Again, drafting a contract, which would then have to come back to this board for approval. Any other thoughts?
No.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Good. Another point was to round out our committee. I was also aware of trying to get some residents of West Cornwall Village on the board. Bruce and Sandy Whiteford's name came up as people that have spent a lot of time doing civic work in the area, taking interest in their place, and certainly the construction will be fairly close to their residence. And Bruce has asked a lot of good questions during the process. So he's agreed to serve on the committee. So I would make a motion that we expand the committee to include Bruce. I think that brings up to 9 members, which seems like plenty. Good variety of people. I see Richard there. Richard's on it. So again, a variety of people, different backgrounds, different expertise. But again, a very positive meeting last night, fairly short, but people sense some momentum there, and I think Bruce would round out the committee well. So is there a second to adding Bruce?
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So yeah, I think it's good because we have 3 things there: election of officers. We now have a well-rounded committee, and we've engaged an engineer. So it'll be up to us to try to do some more legwork for the rest of August, get things going on that, and I'll call up Steve tomorrow morning to get going on taking the next steps. But it seems, and Steve did say the hardest part is often getting town approval. We've gotten that, and there are decisions to be made, but the town has decided to go ahead with this, and so off we go. Yes, Janet, question.
So do we have a timeline, even a general timeline outline from the engineers yet?
Not really. I mean, our rule of thumb that we'd heard, and of course, this is all subject to change, is that it's probably take a year to design and get approvals from the federal and state people. Now we have to also work on getting the work in front of the federal government, not just the environmental things, but the funding agencies. And then we'll also be looking at other sources of funds. Is there more money from USDA or the state of Connecticut? So yeah, so you've got a year to design, get your approvals, go through those process, and then go out to bid, and probably another year or so for construction. I mean, but that's very rough and should not be written down.
Are there any constraints as far as the budgeting goes, as far as how long we have to spend those grant monies?
I don't know the answer to that, but the exact answer, but I think it's certainly more than 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So we're good with Bruce, good with the committee. Next, we have a request for support of the Conservation Trust for Quarry Hill properties. I see we have a couple of trust members here joining us. Welcome. And we had 3 people. Great. And a butterfly. Nice. So as far as I understand it, these are properties that lie east of Coldsfoot Valley. They're basically on the ridge overlooking Coldsfoot Valley. You have some willing property owners that would like to get some state, if not federal money, to permanently preserve these properties, which would be in the view shed of Coldsfoot Valley. Is that where these properties are? Basically?
Yes. Yeah. One of the properties in particular does border the Cathedral Pines, so protects that border. And the eastern slope, the western slope, does drain down into the valley where the water supply is.
Right, and from looking at the maps, it looked like this is pretty steep and not easily built on.
No, right, and it is, an HVA mapping has designated it as a ridgeline zone, so it is visible from state highways and town roads.
Right. Okay. Any questions from the board? It looked pretty. We got Deb Bennett. Did you want to add something?
Gordon, I just wanted to add a few more things to what Barton Jones has already written. Both of the parcels that comprise this whole parcel are in the Natural Diversity Database. And they would be great if, preservation is going to increase biodiversity and wildlife habitat in that area. Also, it's contiguous with a lot of other preserved land, the Mohawk State Forest, and a bunch of conservation trusts and another state of Connecticut. So the way it's all contiguous would make this a really desirable piece too. And that's what I would like to add. Thank you.
Does the Blue Blaze Trail or the former Appalachian Trail go through this, or is it, or not? Do you know?
It just goes through the Cathedral Pines, but it would be an opportunity to add a spur trail that would connect to that Blue Trail.
Okay, got it. Good. So any other questions from the board? You're looking for our support of this, and then this would allow you to apply to the state for funding their open space. Well, certainly that whole area is important to many people. So anyway, so I'd make a motion to support this application. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion?
So I just have a quick question. So as far as support goes, are you just looking for our vote tonight? Are you looking for letters of support? Are you looking for anything else from us?
A letter of support.
Okay, so it would come from all the selectmen.
Yes, I
Well-
believe it's key for the, I mean, it's very important in the application process to have the
Okay.
support of the board.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for your work.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
So who
You're
writes the report, Gordon? Is that-
they've given us a form letter,
Okay.
which we can embellish if we so
Okay.
choose, but it's straightforward.
Okay.
Okay, yep, so we'll follow up on that. Okay, so next we have tax returns or tax refunds, not tax returns, big difference. So I would make a motion that we grant those on recommendation of our hard-working tax collector. Barbara, do you have a total for us of those things?
There are two refunds that are being requested. One is for $370.45, and the other one is for $29.12.
Okay, I think we can swing that. So again, this was for payment. So anyway, so I'll make a motion, we grant this. Second,
Second.
okay. Any discussion?
So just a quick question. If people don't ask for these refunds, does that money just go in the general fund or what happens to it?
So if they don't request them, there's generally I believe the look back period is something like 3 years. And after that, we can just put it in the general fund.
Okay. Thank you.
The auditor has told me that this is one of the things that does not escheat to the state because we don't have to refund this money apparently, right, Jean?
Yeah, only requested, though I do send out the forms, but not everybody sends them back.
But I mean, it seems generally that's, if it's something that they don't owe, that it's a good idea to give it back to them, even if it's 30
Well,
bucks.
Yeah, it's always a case of the fact that they've, made a double payment or, asked for an abatement on motor vehicle and went ahead and paid their bill anyway before they got the prorate from the assessor. So
Okay.
it's up in an overpayment.
Very good.
Great. And again, Gene, thanks for keeping all the books straight. So any more questions, discussion? Great. Okay, so all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's our tax refund. Public comments, any public comments? Question from the press?
Yes, sir. A question from the press, from the Lakeville Journal here.
Yes.
You mentioned the total that's presently in the food and fuel fund, but I couldn't write fast enough to.
It's presently about $10,000.
About 10. Okay, good. And then the other thing, do you know how many acres are involved in that Coltsfoot Valley request about? If you don't, it's okay.
It's about 32 acres.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yes.
125th, the newspaper.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Right. Yeah.
125 years. And so
That's pretty good.
yeah. Well,
Important to have
thank you.
a public record of all the town activities, all the regional activities. Very important. Great. So, and I went up to the fair, very nice celebration up there and celebrated.
Oh, yes, I was there too.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So any other comments, questions? All set?
Bruce's last name, Gordon? Whitford?
Whiteford.
Whiteford.
Whiteford, one word.
Oh, is it? Oh.
Spelled as it sounds. So that's his last name is Whiteford.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. So stay tuned. Have the good rest of your August. And again, very nice party up on the green. But Park and Rec's going strong. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your August and we'll see you in September. Take care. Yep.
Good night.
Good
Good night.